This is a short follow-up on my video about the Dawlish wall. Now I don't like being negative all the time, so I will be doing a final video when everything's done and dusted, just to put things into perspective. The station and its rusty old bridge are looking a bit tired these days, and I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing it all painted up in the Riviera colours in a year or so. So yeah, I'll almost certainly be ending this on a high, but not quite yet. Now, one rather naive thing I did with the first video was dedicate it to Pt.2 with a view to helping them with their cause at Holcombe. So I sent them a mail with a link to the video, which, by the way, was met with the usual blank wall of silence you always get these days. I got no reply, in other words. Anyway, from that point onwards, I started to get a lot of negative comments on my video, and this got me thinking about how this all works. So let's just suppose you're planning to do something which you know is going to be met with a lot of resistance. Wouldn't it be a good idea if instead of waiting for that resistance, you actually created the resistance yourself to soften the blow? i.e., you made your own SaveTheBeach.co.uk to contain any opposition. For a start, Save the Beach have their own sign on the main road between Teignmouth and Dawlish. But as you can see, it's on public land next to an old BT phone box. In other words, it's been put there by the council, the very council it's supposed to be fighting against. But why would the council do that? Also, as you can see, it looks really naff, which is another subtle way of debunking a cause. Crappy sign equals crappy cause, in other words. In fact, if you look closely at the small print at the bottom, it's actually quite difficult to line up letters this badly. I reckon a 5-year-old would do a much better job. And finally with this lot, I went onto their website and there are far too many links to the BBC for my liking. The BBC aren't interested in saving beaches. They've got far better things to brainwash us with than this trivia. Anyway, if you have personally signed up to the Save the Beach website, perhaps it would be a good time now to contact them and see what they are actually doing to stop this project going ahead at Holcombe. The second thing I wanted to talk about is this propaganda video I spotted disguised as a protest video about the wall. The good old Hegelian dialect, get them moaning about something irrelevant to distract them from the real issues. On the face of it, this video is having a good old go at the fact that they used neoprene in the gaps and the neoprene is now breaking off into the sea. And no doubt this is not a good thing. However, subtly in the background of just about every clip, they have managed to capture that perfect moment in time where the wall actually does its job, i.e. when the waves are at precisely the right height to deflect them neatly back into the sea. Now this occurs maybe 1% of the time at most, so what are the odds? It must have taken them weeks to find a perfect window to produce this nonsense. It's utterly balmy. And I think you'll get the true message of the video from this bit of commentary.
The wall was doing its job today in the face of some pretty wild weather.
Next point. One of the most towering comments I get these days is, why don't you ignore the scientists and listen to this numpty instead? Well, my first point is that scientists don't have a monopoly on using their eyes. In fact, a lot of them wear specs, so using their eyes isn't actually one of their strong points. And I honestly don't believe that you need to be a scientist to understand what's happening here. Also, I did have a chat with an actual scientist on top of the wall last year. I saw him standing there shaking his head in disbelief and decided to strike up a conversation. So he's the one who told me that we need a curve here to swoosh the waves back out to sea, rather than a lip to try and catch them. But finally, I did some research on the science behind these walls. So there is good science here after all. And you know who I reckon's behind it? It's gotta be this guy. What better way to keep those waves of immigrants out than turn the whole island into an inside-out prison? Genius. Sorry Nigel, but you've been officially rumbled by the depressing guy from Dawlish.